I'd like to share one of my favourite stories with you. It is the story of the non-conforming sparrow. Once upon a time, there was a sparrow who decided he didn't want to fly south for the winter. As all the other birds packed their little birdie suitcases and prepared to fly south, he settled down and decided to stay. As they all flew away, it grew colder and colder and colder, until one day the bird was so cold and shivering in his nest that he realised he would have no choice but to also fly south for the winter. He packed his birdie suitcase and prepared to take into the air, but the problem was it was now so cold that his wings iced over almost immediately, and he fell to the ground in a barnyard not far from home. As he lay there realising how cold he was and that he was unable to fly, he began to think that it was the end. Just at that time, a cow was walking through the field, walked past the bird and pooed on him. Warm and cosy, though smelly and a pile of manure, he began to defrost. His wings warmed, he warmed, and he realised that maybe he would survive after all. Joyous that he had survived this terrible scenario, he poked out his beak and began to sing. A cat heard the little bird, came round the corner, dug him out and ate him. And the moral of the story is, not everyone who poos on you is your enemy. Not everyone who gets you out of poo is your friend. And if you're warm and happy in a pile of poo, you need to keep your mouth shut. Now, I totally love this story because it reminds us that what goes on around us and how we interpret it are quite a different scenario, and that you definitely can want to stand up for yourself and do your own thing, but it doesn't necessarily always work for you. You need to think carefully in your relationships, whether you're doing things that are serving you, whether aligning and meeting the needs of others or doing what others around you are doing is good for you or not good for you. It's important not to interpret uncomfortable behaviours as negative. Just because someone does something you don't necessarily like doesn't mean it's bad for you. And if you're not careful and you make too much of a fuss of what you want and how you want it, it may not always play in your favour. It's a cool story. It might serve you in some way today. It might serve someone else if you share it with them. But yes, be careful not to be the non-conforming sparrow.